Today I want to go through a project file for a cinematic track I made called It's About the Journey. What's up? My name's Stephen and I go by Saint Devil here on YouTube. I produce mainly cinematic music and I enjoy a bit of hip hop as well. So we're here in the project file, and as you can see there is quite a lot of tracks. I've got about 40-ish, slightly above. I couldn't do this in Logic Pro on my Apple. I enjoy producing in Logic Pro, but I haven't got the hardware. It's just too expensive to get the specs you need to run this many tracks, in my experience anyway. I'll be flicking through this quickly to kind of give you an idea of how it's put together, and then I'll play the whole track at the end so you can hear the finished song. So I started out with a piano and some strings and pads to set the atmosphere and kind of tone of the track. And then I bring in some Irish whistles. And from there it builds and introduces more string instruments and gradually builds in the choirs. And the percussion kicks in then as well, you can hear. And then we introduce some more choir sounds and layers to kind of build it up and give it that richer sound. And you can hear there's a bell and glockenspiel introduced there as well. It kind of gives it a slight magical feel almost. And here I've added a drop where things cut out for a minute before building back up into the big ending. And then we build up from that quiet section into this next part where the strings go a bit higher. We introduce a few more choirs, more percussion, and intensity gradually builds into the final section. Almost forgot to do an instrument breakdown. Yeah, I'll just do the ending section where pretty much everything plays and go through each instrument separately. Here's the piano part. And here we've got our long strings. Layers sound really well together, I think. Short strings combined with the fiddle, bell and glockenspiel. And then when you layer them with the flutes and Irish whistle. And on the final ending section, the flutes change to play this melody. And here is every one of the choir and vocal sounds together. Here's all the brass section. Sometimes I add an 808 and I cut every frequency above like 100 hertz, maybe 200 hertz, depending on the 808. It just adds that extra feeling of bass there without necessarily having it be in the forefront, even though it's not normally in orchestral music. And some pads. And percussion. For those wondering about the instruments I use, you can see them over on the right hand side here in Studio One. I've got Serum, which wasn't really used in this track. I've got a bunch of Spitfire sounds. The BBC Symphony Orchestra and Labs, they are free as far as I know. These four originals ones were fairly cheap. They were like 20 to £30 each. Orchestral tools, I've got a couple of instruments of them. I haven't got many. I've only got maybe 15. Native Instruments, I bought Complete Ultimate a while back, a few years back, and I got the Essential Strings and Strings Pro along with that. They're fairly decent. And East West Opus Composer Cloud, it's got some amazing sounds for orchestral. Overall, I think the track kind of borders somewhere between the epic genre and maybe with a hint of the mystical. It's got almost a feel-good vibe as well at the same time, like an adventure or something. I don't know, I'll let you be the judge of that. But yeah, I'll end it out. I'll no more interruptions. I'll play the track from start to finish so you can enjoy it, hopefully. Here we go. Thanks so much for being here and taking the time to watch this video. I hope you learned something from it, or at the very least enjoyed the music. All the best and take care.